Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to do our top 12 games on the MetaQuest platform that were either underrated and forgotten about games 2026 edition. There's so many great games that you guys may be exploring right now who just got your MetaQuest here on the holiday season, and a lot of people just care about what's new, but there's a lot of great games that came out, a year ago plus, or 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever the case may be. I wanted to highlight some of them on this list, and if you guys want to support me and the channel, as always, there'll be links down below for all of these games that you guys can explore. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so the first one here coming in at number 12 is the Vader Immortal series, part 1, 2, and 3. These are some of the best Star Wars games that you can play on the Quest from back in the day, and this is kind of what started it all. This is from Lucasfilm, and they did a great job. I remember when I first saw Vader in VR coming down at me the first time, and how tall he looked and towering over me and how amazing it was. And yes, the stories are short, about an hour each for each part, but then there's also the dojo mode in here that's super fun, where you get to use your lightsaber and like dodge different enemies and hit things back and stuff like that. The dojo mode in and of itself is worth the price of admission. It was back then, and it still is now. And playing through each story and the uniqueness of it, and playing the fact that you're playing a VR story game that is in the Star Wars universe, is really cool. And it's a unique story into the lore, and not something that was told before. And just seeing all the different characters that you've grown up with and know from Star Wars in VR is amazing. The graphics look great, and they did a great job with this series. I urge you guys to play all of these. The dojo mode changes up a little bit in each of the parts as well. This is Star Wars Vader Immortal series coming in at number 12. The next one here coming in at number 11 is Trover Saves the Universe. And I guarantee you so many people have forgotten about this game. And the people who created this game, if you're familiar with like Rick and Morty and stuff like that, this is from Squanch Games. And if you love the humor of Rick and Morty and things like that, this is exactly what you're going to get in this game. And this is one of the funniest games I have ever played in VR, bar none. No joke. If you guys have not heard of this game or have never played it, because like I said, this game is old at this point, it's still well worth your time, because there is nothing like this in VR. There's not anything like the comedy that's in this game, the raunchiness in this game, and just the things that you're doing, the weirdness of it all, of all the different things that you're being told to do, is just like completely, out of the world of what you're used to in VR. And I think it's one of the most fun story-based and comedy-based adventure games that you can play out there. And it's definitely one that is well worth your time if you have not played it before. This is Trover Saves the Universe coming in at number 11. The next one here coming in at number 10 is Coaster Combat. This is from Oculus themselves. This is from Oculus Studios from way back then. And this is a great way to have someone experience what it's like to ride a roller coaster, but not completely go like crazy and stuff like that, that you could kind of experience with new people coming into VR. And this is a great one, because not only are you riding really cool roller coasters that are set in 3 different environments, and they have unique paths that you're doing and things are changing up, but then you also have modes where you're just shooting different targets and stuff like that, and different things to get the highest score possible on a different level. It is really unique and really fun, in my opinion. Really cool to kind of explore that and kind of, play a roller coaster in VR. Who doesn't want to ride a roller coaster in VR? And you got all the leaderboards to chase all those high scores and stuff like that. It's a really fun game, really unique. Not a lot of roller coaster type games out there to begin with, and this is a very unique one in the space. This is Coaster Combat coming in at number 10. The next one here coming in at number 9 again is another great comedy one, and this is Accounting Plus. Again, if you like things like Rick and Morty, this is another one that is really old at this point, but again is really unique in the funny space and the comedy space and stuff like that. You have no idea what you're going to get next in this scene. Every time I was playing this game, I was blown away, because every time I went into a different scene, I was like, didn't expect that to happen, and wow, what am I supposed to do to get out of this one? The comedy is fantastic, in my opinion, for those of you guys who love that Rick and Morty stuff. Humor and stuff like that, it's all here, just like the last game, and this game is even more affordable than the last one, and it's still super funny, super interesting, and super engaging on what you're doing from scene to scene. Again, you don't know what you're going to be doing next and what you're going to see next, and how you're going to solve all these weird puzzles that you're trying to get through, and it's just like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't see that the first time, and oh my god, I can't believe that's what I had to do to proceed to the next scene. It's wacky, it's fun, it's hilarious, definitely not one to be missed as well. Accounting Plus coming in at number 9. The next one here coming in at number 8 is Star Wars Pinball VR. And I know a lot of us are now really interested in Pinball FX VR. That's, you know, it's fantastic. It's from Zen Studios, just like this one is. But we don't have any Star Wars tables, at least not yet, in the Zen Studios official like Pinball FX that came out last year. So this is still very valuable, and they did a great job, in my opinion, bringing the Star Wars Pinball VR tables into VR. And it is super fun. And if you're into the Star Wars and you know, into that, and you're into pinball, this is definitely not one to miss. And if you've never played pinball in VR, this is definitely a great way to get started if you're into the Star Wars franchise, because this shows you what pinball can do in VR with the different characters that kind of show up around you while you're playing it, the different mini games that makes you fully involved in there that it's not possible when you play regular pinball and, you know, in person, and just all the different collectibles and stuff that you're collecting throughout the game to kind of customize your space and stuff like that. Really, really fun game. Star Wars Pinball VR coming in at number 8. The next one here coming in at number 7 is called Carve Snowboarding. And this is from the creators who created 1080 snowboarding back in the day. And I love snowboarding games. We all remember 1080 from back in the day. We remember SSX and stuff like that from back in the day. And there's not a lot of snowboarding games out there. And this one's really, really well done. Even though it's old at this point, it's still super well done. Again, nothing like it in this space. Or I don't think there is another full-on snowboarding game like there is in this game, where you're literally going down, doing different tricks, snowboarding down the mountain and stuff, and it feels so good to do. Every time you pull off a trick or you're sliding down the mountain on a snowboard, it really feels like you're snowboarding, the grinding on the rails and everything. It's all there, and it feels super intuitive to actually do, and you feel like a badass when you're going down the mountain. It's super fun. Once you get the controls down, you're going to be zipping down the mountain like no one's business, and it's, like I said, super fun, and not a lot of snowboarding games in VR. Carve Snowboarding coming in at number 7. The next one here coming in at number 6 is Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul. Now, I love the Paranormal Activity franchise in movie form, and I love horror games in VR because they completely changed the game compared to playing these games on a flat screen. And this game is super fun. It has all the different tropes that you would expect in a Paranormal Activity movie, going through the house and doors closing all around you and all the different things that you would expect in a horror game trope. If you love the Paranormal Activity movies and you want to experience what that's like in VR, definitely urge you guys to check this one out. Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul coming in at number 6. The next one here coming in at number 5 is Holopoint, and I don't remember how many of you guys remember this game. This game is super old and super nostalgic for me, because this is a game that I actually played on the HTC Vive at first before they ported it over to the Quest back in the day. And this is a game that you're just using archery and you're fighting through waves and waves of targets, samurais, ninjas, you know, all these different things while taking your arrows and going as fast as possible. I remember playing this on the HTC Vive and just going crazy to kill all the different enemies and all the different things coming at you, try to get the highest score and survive as long as possible. The archery feels fantastic. Again, it's a very simple game in nature, but it's still very unique because there's nothing else like this, because this is a very simple game in nature. Some of the stuff that we got in the early days of the Quest, but I think this is obviously one of the best ones, and it's super, super fun, especially if you're into archery games and just getting high scores and stuff like that. This is Holopoint coming in at number 5. The next game here coming in at number 4 is Dash Dash World. Now, unfortunately, this is the only game on the list, because a lot of these games are older, that's not in the Quest store anymore. So if you didn't purchase this back in the day, you can't get it on the Quest store. You could get it on Steam and then play it through Oculus Link and stuff like that, or Virtual Desktop, streaming it to your Quest, which I definitely think it's worth the hassle, because this is Mario Kart in VR. And what sets this one apart, even though the developers are not actively supporting this game anymore, they did update the game right before they kind of finished with it and let you play everything offline and everything and unlock everything. So that was awesome of them to do, you know, right before they kind of stopped developing the game. And there's so many unique tracks in this game that really make you feel like you're a part of Mario Kart. They're so well designed. They're super fun, like jumping around and going through different things. They have a good variety of maps, a good variety of characters and stuff like that. This game was super fun when it was out. Fortunately, obviously, it wasn't big enough for them to take off with it and continue to, you know, make it over and over again and continue to make new tracks. But even without that, it's still my favorite Mario Kart game in VR. I know there's other kart racers right now in VR that exist, but this is still my favorite one. The weapons are really fun that you get to throw at each other. Single player is all there, so you can still play that to this day, going through all the different tracks and stuff. It's super, super awesome. It's worth the hassle if you guys can get your hands on it. Dash Dash World coming in at number 4. The next game here coming in at number 3 is After the Fall. After the Fall was some of the one of the first games that I remember playing with a bunch of different friends because of the cooperative nature of it. And it's a shooter-based game, a loot and shooter at that, kind of like Left 4 Dead, if you guys are familiar with that game, where you and 3 of your friends are cooperatively going into each level. There was 5 different levels back in the day, and you go through them. They were really expansive too. They weren't short levels by any means, and you're fighting all the different enemies and taking down the bosses, and getting more experience to be able to take it back and get new weapons and be able to afford better weapons to be able to do those same levels at harder and harder difficulty levels. I thought the game was fantastic. Then they added multiplayer as well, PvP, which was also super fun, and I love the way that this game worked, and it was super fun cooperatively. I wish that they were continuing to make this game and give us new levels after the fall, coming in at number 3. The next game here coming in at number 2 is Blaston from Resolution Games. You guys know what I feel about Resolution Games on this channel, and they are taking a number 2 spot on this list. Blaston is a 1v1, bullet hell shooter. Yeah, bullet hell, that's what I said. Very, very unique. Nothing else like this, where you have all these different weapons that you kind of can bring into the battle. You can customize which weapons you're bringing, 3 different ones, and then when you're in there, you're 1v1 dueling each other, dodging and bullet hell kind of style around the different bullets that your enemy's shooting at you, trying to eliminate them and take them down to their health, best out of 3. And then you can have up to 12 other players kind of watching you, and then winner stays on, and you have like a tournament style bracket in here. The social hub that they kind of bring in here as well is really cool. I love when the games do really well, social hubs, and we know that I say on this channel all the time, Resolution Games is one of the best out there when it comes to doing social hubs in VR, and that does not disappoint in here as well, with some cool stuff that you can do and meet up with your friends before you actually start playing this game. Really, really fun game, especially if you can get a large group in there, because you can 1v1 duel and you can watch each other go at each other, especially now that it's free to play. It used to be the $10 game, and then they went free to play. Definitely urge you guys to check this one out. Blaston coming in at number 2. And the number 1 game on this list, again by Resolution Games, by accident, is Cookout. Cookout is a very similar game in VR that you guys are probably familiar with, called Overcooked, where you and 3 of your friends are trying to cook different recipes and stuff like that for customers that are coming into your restaurant, and making them together by, making bread and cutting meat and cooking burgers and putting cheese on it and stuff like that. Literally, it's that game in VR, and it is done super well. I wish that they created DLC for this game and created more and more levels, because me and my friends played this to death, and we kind of beat all the levels, and they kept introducing new ideas and new things, but it's still well worth it. I haven't played it in so long that I feel like I forgot how the game plays, that I can play it all over again and have super fun. The interactiveness that you get to play with this game, yelling at your friends, grab the cheese, grab the burgers, grab this, grab that. Super fun. Cookout, a sandwich tale at number 1. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you guys got new games to play on your new MetaQuest 2 that you may, or 3 or 3S, that you may have gotten over the holiday season. A lot of good games that a lot of people always forget about, because everyone's always just into new, but there's a lot of great games from back that released years ago that are still really fun to play. So let me know what you guys are, if you guys have discovered any of your own that maybe not be on this list. And if you guys want to support me and the channel, as always, links down below to all of these games where you can save 10% right now to purchase these are down below. And thank you guys for watching. Until next time.